HHDG. Peace, HHDG. We are on another episode of HHDG Media, the podcast. Third day this week. As always, shout out Facebook group, Hip Hop Discussion Group. Shout out our HHDG Media crew, T. Smith, the Mayor, Rock Vader KB, Skelly Top, and myself, Wiki. And as always, check that website, hhdgmedia.com, for all the current and past interviews, as well as new music and any upcoming events that we have going on. And as always, up here in the North, it's hoodie season. So go check out the hoodies that we have as well. On tonight's episode, we have two members coming out of Philly, one in South Philly to be specific, representing the Wrecking Crew. And they just released a dope album last month. This is December 1st now. Going by Career Crooks. The album is Never at Peace. And we'd like to introduce one of the members, MC, producer, podcaster, Zilla Rocca.
You forgot thought leader, experimental film director. No, I'm just kidding. It's me. Thanks for having me, man. I'm grateful to be back on the show.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. How's everything been going this year for you?
It's been a long, fun year of many raps, a lot of nights talking about rap on the podcast on Culture, Wrecking Crew, between Steel's Kitchen, our compilation, and the Prem Rock solo album, Curly Castro solo album, my solo album, and then me and Small Pro's joint album that just came out. It's been crazy. It's been amazing, and I can't wait to take a break from rapping and talking about rap for a little bit, but that's not the time right now. Now it's time to kick it with you guys at HHDG
Absolutely.
Media.
There you go. And you just brought up Small Pro, so Philly, another Philly representative.
Yes.
Wrecking Crew.
Yes.
What's up, Small Pro?
Peace. How you feeling?
Doing good. Glad you could join.
Yo,
Thanks for having us.
A lot of handsome gents in glasses right now.
Man, reflections.
It's like
I'm gonna take these off,
and baldness, right?
Yeah, short hair, don't care.
Beards.
Yeah, come on. It's like the three stages of a beard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm at the end. I'm at the end game, waiting. You know what I mean? This got trimmed up too for you, man. Looking good.
There you go. So how you doing tonight, Small Pro?
I'm good, sir. Just getting in from work. Busy time of the year, But I'm here. Actually not tired, but I'm sure I'm gonna crash later.
Good. Good. Good.
Cool. Now, Zilla was just talking about the busy, successful year that Wrecking Crew has had with the releases. And I didn't want to jump into it, but a John Supreme,
Woo.
volumes 1 through 3.
Whew.
Man, what are you doing? Those are some bangers you got on there.
I appreciate that, man. That's very humbling when I realized that, oh yeah, people listen to my music. Oh, but so volumes 4 through 6 are in production.
Bang.
And the reason why is John Supreme 1 through 3 is actually a compilation. So to me, it's not an album. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of feeling like competition with myself because all those beats, I don't get caught up in, what year certain things were anymore to the point where I don't want to let people hear it, but those beats were from, I was in a different place musically than I am now. So, it's still what is me. It's just from 2017 is, I think that's when I feel like I got good enough for my own standards. I'll say that.
I agree.
So you're on enough level. So my expression when I hear volume 4, 5, and 6 is going to be completely different from what I just gave you right now.
Yeah. It's going to be like a best of, but you didn't hear none of the beats before. It's all going to be original. You know what I mean? But just have that still try to keep that same compilation energy where it feels like just an album. You know what I mean? Nobody would know that it's not an actual 36 track, project if I didn't say that. But shout out to Matt Diamond. Matt Diamond put that together. And also shout out to Zilla and Castro, because they were telling me to do Jones on tape for 3 years before it came out. And I finally was like, actually, it wasn't up to me. It was Matt. It was Matt's idea.
Shouts to Matt.
I signed off on it. But
I was telling this dude do a triple disc and or double DVD box set of all his beats.
Okay.
Because why not?
Yep.
He's got enough to fill 150 minutes worth of anything. Whatever the largest amount on a physical media, he can do it. I believe in this guy.
There you go.
It's true.
It's all real.
Cool. Now, for the people that are not familiar with the two of you, come out of Philly, South Philly. Tell us, about those influences, because I mean it's so vast coming out of that city.
Smalls, you lead off this one.
So Zilla is from South Philly. I am not. I am from Northwest Philly. Sometimes it's Mount Airy, sometimes it's Germantown, but I just say Northwest Philly just to encompass it all. But growing up in high school, the roots were the pride and joy. You know what I mean? Same thing with Beanie Siegel. Same thing with Freeway. You had the Black Lily movement. You had Music Soul Child. And then later on, Meek Mill and Tierra Whack. We came in there at some point. But it's a long legacy of rappers, producers, singers, instrumental, especially rap, because it seemed like for a little while every label had like one Philly guy.
That's true,
in the 2000s.
Like the scouts were out there.
Rockefeller had one. Well, Rockefeller had
all of them. They had all of them.
Yeah.
Like even
Cash
Roscoe P. Chain, Cash Money.
Yep. Ab Live.
Philly's most. Ab Live. Philly's most. Journalist. He was on Motown. How you like that?
Don't forget Miss Jade.
Miss Jade. Big Head is my jam. Everyone. Yep. Yeah. We were the du jour city, late 90s, early 2000s, 1,000,000%. And on my end, like the South Philly angle is like the dudes I grew up around weren't into like, I mean, you were always around rap, but it was like we were looking like to Will Smith. Like that was the guy. You know what I mean? And then it was like the Roots after that, and then everyone else Smalls named. Where like for me, when Beanie hit, then all of a sudden magically everybody from South is like, oh, I'm from Siegel Street. Yeah, I know. Yeah, clearly. Oh yeah, Beanie's mom. I know him. I'm not actually from Siegel, but I'm from 4 blocks away. But I am from Siegel. Like it became that thing, and that was pretty annoying to me. So so then we had like Mountain Brothers, and we had like Jedi Mind Tricks and Grand Agent. I loved Grand Agent more than anything. So it's always, like I said something recently, I was like, rap is like Philly's greatest cultural export. You know what I mean? It's not the friggin' cheesesteak and the pretzel and all that. It's rap. It has been from pop art and, you know what I mean, the youngsters and all that to present day. Like Uzi Vert. Like we really have touched on all styles and sounds and culture for the last 30. I mean, Schoolie D invented gangster rap. So like it's been almost 40 years of us having our hand in it. And for me, it's like Small saying, like it's lucky. We're lucky enough to come along where that's something people are intrigued by. Because like I've been on the road, and when I've told people I'm from Philly, they look at me like, wow, like, oh, Eve. Do you know Eve? Do you know Freeway? You know what I mean? Like the people get very excited when you leave Philly that you are from Philly. And so that's dope. So we're very lucky to carry that with us.
Wow. I got a question. Was Haslo ever an official member of Wrecking Crew?
Yeah, he was early on because he was like, because all 4 of us, meaning me, Castro, Small Pro, and Haas, all had the same manager. So we all met through the same management team, like in 2010, 10-ish, and we were all excited. Yeah, and I knew Small Pro before anybody. I knew Small Pro first, and then Small Pro and I started kicking it, and then I knew Castro through like live shows. So Small Pro and I were the first ones to work together, and then he got a deal, and then Haslo got a deal, and then I think you needed the manager to help Haas with his deal. I think that's how it worked, Smalls, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's how that worked.
Yeah, he didn't like that though.
It was something like that. It was like about a contract or a deal. What did you say?
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't like that idea, so that didn't work out.
Right. So then as we all kind of culminated, we all just started like doing a lot of stuff together. And then over time, like we met Prem, and then Haas wanted to do his thing on one side. And Prem was like our extended dude. You know what I mean? Kind of like how Alaska is now with us, kind of like the Capadonna or like the Lotta Darkman of the crew. So then after a while, it was like the places and things we wanted to do, it was like just organically happening pretty easily to where he wanted to just do things on one side. And we're like, all right, well, we're just going to do it on this side. So the interesting thing is like, you'll always see like those older records with his involvement on there. Like he did a lot of beats early on. We were in videos together and doing stuff, doing shows. But I think where everyone ended up, it's like everyone ended up where they should be. You know what I mean? Like Prem and Castro got together and created Shrapnel. You know what I mean? Like Smalls and Castro got together and do Blue Edwards. Me and Smalls got to do Career Crooks. I mean, everything just kind of in the last 4 years has been at light speed with all of us. It's like all the pieces fit perfectly. So that's there you go. Okay. Bong bong.
And how is the process any different when you and Zilla and Small Pro work together compared to when you do anything with any other members?
Ooh, Smalls, you do that one first because you've worked with almost everybody now on a full length.
The difference is I've known Zilla the longest, so he kind of just lets me just do the Small Pro thing. Castro is a little more hands-on, so it's cool too because we're all brothers. You know what I mean? So. And I'm gonna start working on the album with Prem Rock as in a little while. So that'll be another experience, but it's different mainly because I mean, Zilla, you did, Griff Company with Castro, so I guess you had the producer hat on,
Right.
so that's different in itself.
Yeah, like
But
I've performed with everybody, so I think that's
Mhm.
the only difference is I've performed with Prem, Castro, and Smalls. So when you start doing shows, you have like a different understanding of each other too, right? So Castro and I did so many
definitely.
shows. Like if you booked us to play a show in 2 hours, we could just make it work. You know what I mean? Like we have like an unspoken language with each other on stage, like certain looks, certain ad libs, what to do. And then Castro and Prem have built that with each other over a couple years. And then before COVID and everything, me and Smalls from like 2017 through 19, we started building that with each other through rehearsing and doing shows. So Smalls and Castro haven't had a chance to do like their own sets yet, but during the Career Crooks first run and Castro started being on some bills and doing stuff, he and Smalls would be on stage together, amongst all of us. So I think like Smalls is the only producer I've worked with that I got to perform with, which to me it like really advances it rather than like a dude in my emails hitting me with stuff. And most of my interaction with producers are that like dudes in my email that I'm friends with, that we're homies, but we're not like in the flesh on stage feeding off of each other and like seeing that reaction to people right away. Like what's really working with us and what isn't. So
Gotcha.
On my end too, yeah, like I'm more hands off with Small Pro only because he asked me to be that way with him. I'm like, okay. So he really tests my patience, my endurance.
It always works out too.
Yeah, and that's what I always bank on. So there's been many of heated phone calls to other Wrecking Crew members lamenting that. I'm like, why is this guy doing this to me? What are we doing out here? But the good news is, honestly, it gives me time to do other stuff too. So it's like, I got to do Midnight Suns. I got to do projects with Ray West and Vegas Vic and Griff Company and Wrecking Crew stuff. So, even working with Alaska. So it's like he and I get to keep checking in, and do stuff. And he gets to do all the beat tapes and beat placements all over. So it's really dope. Like I will say, like, there's nothing forced with it. That's the best part. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, to go back to your question about Hoslo, I think a lot of that felt forced after a while. And then how it is now with all of us, it's like we're all a lot older too. And I feel like everything we do now is more like we're more settled with each other and ourselves and where we are. And I feel like that can happen to where Smalls and I can take 2-3 years between records. You know what I mean? Him and Castro have like, it's been a year since they dropped. He and Prem haven't started it. So I feel like, but there's like an unspoken thing. Like we don't have issues or competitive or ego things. Like if I was 23, that's a different story. You know what I mean? I'd be like, I was wild petty, you know what I mean? And insecure. So I feel like this stage of our lives, it's so effortless and we're cool with that. And that's sacred. You know what I mean? There's no added pressure, unless you are working with Castro, he becomes a taskmaster sergeant general, but that's good. He tells you that like, yo, you're not going to like me for the next 6 weeks. And, but he's coming from a real place of like, yo, I want to make this amount to something. And his track record's impeccable. You know what I mean? So same thing. Like if you're giving them the ball, they're like, yo, I'm going to get 40 and then they do it. Okay. I'm going to keep letting you have the ball. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Curly Castro if he's listening right now. One of my favorite projects from him still to this day is Fidel.
Woo, Fidel. Hell yeah. Fidel is phenomenal.
Now, what was I going to say? Oh, tell me the process, because Zilla, we didn't speak about this last time on the interview, but just tell me what was the process going on when all of you created Wu-Tang Po.
So that's crazy. So my homie Fresh, he used to run this site called 33jones.com, and he put out the 5 o'clock. Shadowboxers record that I had with like Rock Marcy and Geechee Suede and Daytona. He had this idea back then. This was like when Ray was coming back out with Cuban Links too, and like the Wu fervor was building up amongst like mainstream people. So he was like, "Yo, why don't you guys like rap on some Wu-Tang instrumentals?" So we started doing that. We did a couple of them. And then we got the idea, like, yo, why don't we like remake these songs? Like anyone could do freestyles over, Liquid Swords or Ice Cream. Like let's re-engineer the beats and then line up MCs we think that kind of match a certain style or voice of whatever, if Capadonna's on a record or You God's on a record. So One of the first beats was a beat Small Pro made for it, which I think it's called Mad Light Inside a Dark, where he flipped Criminology, and it was me and Elucid. And that's like legendary Elucid. This is like before the Worlds and Alchemist, everyone's singing Elucid's praise. This is when like we only knew Elucid over email, and we were getting features from him, and he would come to Philly and play a couple shows here and there. So that was one of the first flips we did. And then once we started opening the doors again, like Hoslo was around for that, being like, yo, I have ideas, I can flip some stuff. And then we started hitting up people like, who else on the record? Like Castle's on the record. My man Sunroll, he's about to put out a new beat tape. He's on the record. Disco Vietnam is on the record. Like everyone you've seen us with now, they were on that record then. You know what I mean? So it's like a Mega Random, he's on that record. My man G Dubs, who put on that Kid Starker, he's on that record. It's great. It's a great piece, man. It's something we're proud of. So when we did it, it was, you know, it did really well. Like it was like one of Hip Hop DX's like best mixtapes of the year and OK Player and all that. And then we finally pressed it on CD maybe 3-4 years ago. That joint sold out. It's nowhere but wreckingcrew.bandcamp.com. And now like with the Woo Hulu show and then the Showtime thing, and you know, it's something like next year will be the 10th anniversary, I think, of Wu-Tang Pulp. So maybe we'll do a reissue or something. But it was just love. Like it was a lot of fun. What's up? Well, you made that face for
10 years?
It was 2012, I think we dropped it, right? I think that's when we dropped it.
Somewhere around there, I believe so.
Yeah, I think it's 2012. I'm pretty sure it's 2012.
That's
And we got a lot of eyeballs off that. We had like people getting at us about doing albums and doing deals, and but the industry wasn't where it is now, which is just things are way better for us as independents now than 2012. Like things were building, but it wasn't where it is now. So it's something I love, and you know, like having Small Pro on that record again, working with him right now. Like everyone, we didn't know Prem yet, or else he would have been on that record. But it's a really cool time capsule, and I think like it holds up. It's ill. We went to work on that one. I love it.
Yeah, it was 2012.
Look at that.
Yep.
See?
Right on point.
Whew. I know all those days.
Damn, I can't believe it's that been long.
Me too, shit.
The reason I made that face is because if that's about to turn 10, then Gigantic Volume 1 is about to turn 10.
Oh, I'm
Small
glad you brought that up.
See?
I'm not ready.
That's one of my favorites.
Woo.
I'm not ready.
See, that's another one. You look at the track listing on that. Like, people he was picking are around. You know what I mean? Like, that record's crazy.
Yeah. That P gets off. That's my joint.
Literally thinking about that in my mind. I was like, "Yo, P Von P," and shouts to him and Don Will with that new Tanya Morgan album, which is crazy.
Yeah, great album. They just dropped.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm glad that they keep doing it like that.
Hell yeah.
What else? What else y'all got out there? I was wondering about.
Man, we got a lot good.
86 Witness.
Woof. Look at that face. Automatic screw face. When did that come out?
Right.
Was that 2015?
2019.
2019? Wow,
Yep.
I feel so long ago. Isn't that crazy?
It's about to get re-released next year for Record Store Day.
Ooh.
Wow.
I don't know if I was supposed to say that.
Oh. I was able to get. I was actually able to get 2 copies of LaToya Jackson.
Ooh.
Damn. You a fan. I appreciate that, bro. Eesh. Yeah, I'll get your information. I'll make sure you get a copy of the special edition I'm not supposed to be talking about right now.
Oh, I appreciate that. Ooh.
It's going to be the album and instrumentals on, I think, double vinyl.
True.
Did I tell you that, Z?
You didn't. Thank you for sharing that with the world and your friend.
Yeah, sorry, Matt. Sorry, Matt Diamond.
Yeah, sorry, Matt.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a great work, bro. I remember when you were making it and let me hear some demos before Sean passed, and then hearing the final version, and even that, I think we did Career Crooks' first album during that period too.
During that time, yeah.
Because there was so many things they had to go through with that record, and that was like the first Career Crooks record. Good luck with that. Was Small Pro being unleashed because there were like the 86 was in stasis because there was just so many things to navigate, and this was his way to just like
Oh my God,
work on some shit, and just do it.
The memories coming back right now when he just said that.
Yeah, like he said, that album was done 2015. When did we start Good Luck with that?
16ish, because we dropped at 17. But you were working on 86 way before that. Yep.
Yeah. So Good Luck with That and 86 they're related.
Mm-hmm.
They're like brother. They're like close brothers. Yeah, I never met Sean in person. Matt Diamond of Cold Mine Records and him were they had music together, and they had a relationship to where Matt was playing Murder Type Thinking. Murder Type Thinking remix that I did at his house one day, and Sean heard it, and he ended up getting in contact with me. He ended up calling me actually, and I could not believe that this man called me, and he was basically just said like, yo, I'm a big fan of yours, like, I need some beats. And I was like, really? You know who I am? He said, he was like, yeah, I thought you were a joke at first because of your name. Then I heard your music, and I was like, oh, this guy's serious. And I was like, you know what? I appreciate that. But he heard in that remix what 86 Witness was gonna sound like, because that's basically that same chamber, like real, kind of dark and still space for him to do the Sean Peace style that he's the late career Peace style that he kind of was rolling with in his later years, which I thought was very Doom influenced, which is how Latoya Jackson came about, because I was like, you probably would sound good on this sample, you know what I mean?
Oh wow.
But I remember he and I had a conversation about like beatboxing on hip hop songs, because he had a joint out around that time called Kurt Rambis. I forget if it's on any album, but I was like, this is right up my alley, you know what I mean? So that's how that happened. But that process, that was most of like 2014 up until the announcement of him passing, which was August 2015. So he heard most of the album. He didn't hear some of the guest features. Yeah, he heard most of the album, and I think he gave the track Midnight Rounds that title, because he was like, oh, since the concept is 86, it should be like Round Midnight from Herbie Hancock, I think. But he was like, oh, we're gonna switch it around to Midnight Rounds. So that's where that came from.
Damn.
Yeah. But and that was a fun album to make up until the obvious, not so fun part of making it.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Sean.
Definitely rest in peace. Wow. Speaking on Sean, he was what I love about him is, in person, I got to speak with him before, is exactly how he is on his songs. You know,
Yeah.
he could be funny and he could be brutally honest, but he's straightforward all the time though. That's what I loved about him.
That's awesome.
I noticed that too when we were on the phone because I forget what it was, but he was making jokes and it was laughter in the background. Like, and I'm on the other end, like, is this guy clowning me in front of people? You know what I mean? But what you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's who he was.
A couple of times I met him in Philly, he was like saying, "Yo, I'll do a feature. You got to buy me 10 polo shirts at the Big and Tall store." And we never pulled the trigger somehow. I don't know. We totally bungled that. He was hilarious.
That's great. Yeah, man. So here's something I wanted to talk about, and I found it interesting. You named a track on Never at Peace after one year your favorite actor.
Correct.
Benicio del Toro.
Hell yeah.
Tell us why he is your favorite out of
there was a time where I was like really just wanting, I just like wished I was that dude. I would like watch his movies and I just always thought he had a way of like taking over a scene by doing less, if that makes sense. So like even like in Usual Suspects, where most people know him from Fenster, and we have a song called Fenster McManus with me and Castro, produced by Small Pro. Even in Usual Suspects, you know, he's barely in the movie, and he realized like his character died first, so what he said meant nothing. So he started talking like this all the time. The fuck, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not figuring my ass on tonight. You know what I mean? Like they kept saying what? You know what I mean? Like, they flip you, they flip. You know, give me fucking keys, cock. So give me the fucking keys, fucking cocksucker. So anyway, I just thought he was like so funny because he was so like low key in most of his performances, but he always did something really memorable. So even, you know, when he was in like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and he was like out of his friggin' mind playing Dr. Gonzo, or he was in like one of my favorite movies ever, The Way of the Gun. He's like a very pulled back kind of character. So even though he's big, famous, and you know, he dated like Scarlett Johansson or whatever, and he's in, you know, like Guardians of the Galaxy now as a collector. Like he was just a guy that I thought was, you still don't know a lot about him. You know what I mean? He's been famous for like 20 years, and it's not like he's in your face. But if you see his name on a movie, you're like, well, at least he's going to be good. You know what I mean? Like maybe the movie's not the best, but this guy is going to be phenomenal. So he even did this movie like Alicia Silverstone when she was like on fire from Clueless, and it's called Excess Baggage, where he like kidnaps this rich girl, and he's kind of like this sloppy car thief, and his hair is like, it's kind of like frosted tips, like of really ugly, like blondish hair. And the movie's totally forgettable, but he's outstanding in this. It's like stuff like that. Like he could just elevate anything. Like if he's in Snatch for a couple scenes, and so I just felt he was always like really, really memorable, and I liked every role I've ever seen him in. Like even like The Fan with Wesley, and you know,
oh yeah,
De Niro. Like everything I mentioned, everyone's like, "Oh, I saw that." You know what I mean? But you don't think about him like you do like DiCaprio. You know what I mean, or something like that. So when we had that beat, it was like one of my favorite beats of the album, and it has like this, you know, crazy bass line and like these pianos and like this flute. And we did the whole song, and I was just like, you know, I could title it like Parts of the Hook, you know, like I don't even rhyme no more, I explain, or like We Can Get Wild or something. And I felt like the rest of the songs had those titles where they're named after the hook. And I was like, I sat there and I was like, what would I name this if I didn't name it after Hook? And I was just like, Benicio del Toro. Like I don't know why, but like the functions of that beat to me matched him as an actor, where it's like, I don't know how else to explain it, but I was just like, when I wrote it down and I played the song, like I looked at the words and I was like, that works. Okay, cool. Boom. And Small Pro had no issues with that. So we were good to go. We were off to the races.
Interesting. Yeah.
As Zilla can attest, I encourage all artists to be as creative with their song titles as possible.
I can attest to that.
Yes.
Speaking of song titles, have y'all ever you familiar with actually you might be because Chong Wizard works with them often. Chris Crack.
Yes.
Have you paid attention to the song titles on
Of
this
course,
project?
of course.
Very
They're
good song title.
yeah, of course. Like they're just they'll all be. It's always about like women, white people, crackheads, money, and then like a self-deprecating thing. Vegans. Yeah, he has like a good formula going. So shouts to those song titles.
I appreciate his creativity when it comes to song title. Definitely.
And if you ever read them, it feels like he chopped them out of a sentence that would him being in a normal conversation that he would just chop it out of a sentence. Yeah, I'm gonna put this as a song title.
Oh yeah.
Why not?
Oh my god.
Why not? You know what I mean?
God. That's fire.
Why not title your song, the last sentence of a Hemingway novel from, whenever.
Woo.
Why not?
Wow.
But honestly though, it does help with Google like visibility, to be honest with you.
Yo, real quick as we're saying this, I just like put in something in my email, and Smalls, I found this email you sent me from July 2020, and there was 3 beats in here and one of them became the first song of the album, Peace Talks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that beat was originally called Swizz Beats MPC Routine. That's the name of that beat originally. So there you go. So Chris Crackup, you better come kiss this ring from Small Pro first with the titles.
I gotta step it up, man.
You do.
I gotta step it up.
Yeah, and then the beat title for SP Situations, I believe, was called Rasheed Wallace Atlanta Hawks Jersey. I believe that was the original title of that beat.
Because it's rare. You know what I mean? It's like a rare, that's a gem.
That's a gem.
See, it's got to be a story behind it, or it really doesn't have to mean anything. But it was cool to me. Well,
very cool.
But yeah, that's how we do.
Okay, cool. We're gonna stay on the current album, Never at Peace, and we got to talk about the mini disc.
You've been waiting on this one all day to talk about the mini disc. You are chomping at the bit to talk about this one.
Dang.
This is crazy. The mini disc. I was saying small before we jumped on. I've never had a mini disc. I've never had a mini disc player. And I didn't know it had such an explosive niche fan base still in 2021. But
completely untapped fan base.
Literally,
we had no idea.
No idea.
Nope.
But on our end, it's like we were shopping the album for a minute, and then the vinyl situation just kept getting more insane with wait times, and it just felt like every 2 weeks it would add on like another 2-3 months on a turnaround when we were talking to vinyl people. So I really wanted this album to exist on vinyl because I had that experience with Chong Wizard and Midnight Suns and then later Vegas Vic. But I was just like, this just doesn't make sense for us. Me as a fan, I'm not interested in waiting 9 months for something to be delivered to my house that I'm spending good money on. Right. And then me, as a small business owner, I can't really justify what that would be, putting your money up and waiting that long. So same thing with the labels we were talking to. It was the same thing. It was like this vinyl crunch has pushed everyone's schedules back. So when we sat there and we were thinking about, okay, what can we do to make this album special when we release it if we're not going to do vinyl? And so I was just like looking at products and I was like, mini discs? And I think I told Smalls, I think I told Griff from Insubordinate, I think I told Castro. And people were either saying like, huh, what? Or what the hell are you doing? Or that's a great idea. It was like a needle like hitting any of those responses. And so I was just like, you know what? This is something to get people excited. Like this is if everyone's zigging towards vinyl, we zag and go mini disc. So I feel like that makes it's rare as a Rasheed Wallace Atlanta Hawks jersey, or even a Mike Piazza Miami Marlins, Florida Marlins jersey, because he was on that team for like 2 days. Shouts to Mike Piazza. And so I thought if we did it, even if we only sell 5, like that's something pretty cool. So they're just about sold out. I'm looking at the last remaining copies right now. There's about,
what was it, like 6 maybe?
Possibly. Yeah, we sold one again today.
Okay.
It's a slow, steady drip, but it's great because again, it's like we got to have those in hand well before the album was out. Like I got to have all the products in my hand. I didn't have to wait 9 months, 12 months. So shouts to mini disc owners and the people that are getting the mini disc in the mail with the player and then taking video and sharing it and posting pictures. It's the mini disc community supports Career Crooks, and we love you dearly. Thank you for holding us down.
We need to lean into them more.
Yeah, we need to have like cookouts or something.
Yeah,
like a mini disc cookout.
Makes me want to do an album just for them. Like only 20 copies.
That's it.
Mini disc only.
Bong. Oh, here's real quick another small pro beat title I just found in my email. It was called Chris Paul Tony Parker Playoff Duel from 2018. There you go. My man's out here. My man's out here. Get out of here.
There you go. Yeah.
This ain't new. This is all real, all from the archives.
Cool. Now let's continue. You got Wrecking Crew members on the new album as well.
Mm-hmm.
When you started creating this album, did you have particular members in mind for certain tracks?
I think the main one was Crew Nautilus with Shrapnel. I don't even think they were Shrapnel yet when we did this song.
Oh.
I don't think that record came out or we even heard it yet. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So that was the first beat Smalls sent me when the first album and the remix album was finished. That was like the first new thing. And I had the beat for so long. I was like, this beat's so crazy. I don't even, because there's 2 parts to it. So I was like, I don't know what to do with it. And then I was like, oh, posse cut. Boom. That solves my problems. I don't have to be very creative. And then later on in the project, when they were Shrapnel and that took off, then we did Spiral Book. And we wanted a couple other people to be on Spiral Book. And Smalls was like, no, it should just be Castro and Prem, and we should woo it out and have them pop up multiple times. So I was like, cool. Alaska could have been on the record. We had him on 98 Clue Freestyle, which is on Steel's Kitchen. He was originally intended to be on the Wrecking Crew record with that song. And when I played this song again, I was like, it really doesn't fit this album anymore. But it's still a great song. So we ended up putting that on Steel's Kitchen. So Alaska is on a Career Crew, and he's on Good Luck With That. He's on the song Mike. That was like one of the first times I ever worked with Alaska was on Mike Milligan. So he's on that song, Mike Milligan. Yeah, that was like first or second time I ever worked with him.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's not on Never at Peace, but the intention was when we did 98 Clue Freestyle, which is on Steel's Kitchen, available now.
Cool. Now, with Alaska, were you friends with him back in the Def Jukes days?
Nah, I was just a fan, bro. I was.
Okay.
I said it before. I was working at a record store, putting the Hangar 18 album on the shelf on release day. You know what I mean? Like hating. I was like, who the fuck are these dudes on Jokes? Why are me and my corny friends not on Def Jokes right now? Why are these guys there? Just being, stupid. So, like I always loved DJ Paul. I love their beats a lot. Back then, I didn't like them as rappers as much as everyone else on Jokes because I thought they were like too normal. You know what I mean? I'm like, but the beats were so fly. I was like, oh, okay. And then as time went on, that's when I kind of like reverse engineered and found like the older Adam stuff. Because like Alaska's always said on our show, like when they got to Jokes, they realized like the complex, super lyrical, unorthodox shit was everywhere. They wanted to go against the grain. So then they kept it more of like fast rhyming, having a good time, opening the doors for everybody type of rap, which I grew to love too. But yeah, he reached out to me like in 2013. He was running a site called Siffle, and he heard of me through I think Uncommon NASA and Woods because they booked us to play Yule Prague, and he saw one of my videos on there, and he checked me out and he just hit me up. He was like, "Yo, you're dope. I'm a fan." And I was like, "Is this the Alaska from Hangar 18?" He's like, "Yeah, hey." And I was like, what? So when he started making music again, he reached out to me, and then later Castro. He did like an Outkast mixtape called Outkast. So I'm rhyming on Return to Gangsta. I forget what song Castro's on. So then that kind of just started that. And then Castro put him on his record, Destroy and Debuild. It's me, Alaskan. I think Def C is on that song. It's the title cut of Destroy and Debuild, produced by Fax One. And then that's it, and years later, we have the show and a million songs later. So to answer that, like, yeah, I wish I knew Alaska back then, but I'm glad I get to know him now.
Yeah, definitely. He's a good part of Call Out Culture. Because he brings up some things back in the day, and then I start thinking about him like, wow.
That's awesome. Yeah, he'll have some opinions and comments that are just absolutely obscene and should be banned.
Bonkers takes.
Yeah, and frankly make me sick. So now for the show though, like that's how he is. He's not putting it on for the pod. Like that's how it goes. And real quick, Smalls, again, I'm just doing this because I just have the emails up. You sent me the Crew Nautilus beat. You just called it Random Joint, November 12th, 2017. So there you go. And the beat was called Mad Lib, as I surmised. So that was the beginning of this album. Almost exactly 4 years ago was the first beat. So boom.
Wow.
Have fun with that. It's trivia for the Career Crooks diehards.
Now with this, you're saying 4 years in the making. When did you actually finalize this album?
This year.
Okay.
Yeah, this year it got mastered.
Yes, but the last song was made. The intro was the final song we made that like last summer, fall, something like that. So that was during COVID, and then as we were going through the mixing and mastering phase, the artwork phase, the pitching it to labels phase, the vinyl crunch phase, it then brings us to this time of 2021. But yeah, it's a lot of things are just happening, that were just pretty insane. But yes, it takes us to present day from 4 years ago.
And whose child is that on the cover?
That's my son.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a park near us, and we were just out and probably during COVID, we were just out and about, and I would take him there, and he just was like climbing the fence, and I took a picture, and it was similar to how the Good Luck with That art came. I was like literally that photo came same way. I was walking out of a Starbucks off Broad and Jackson in South Philly. Jackson, yes. And I took that picture as I was about to get in my car, and I posted on Instagram. And I remember like Smalls and or Ray West both were like, "Take that down now." Like that's an album cover. It was you. And then Ray West was like, "That's an album cover." And so both of them said the same thing, and I was like, "Ooh." So I think I deleted it. And then with this one, I took the photo because we were going through so many cover ideas for this album. Like, I don't know if you remember that, Small. We went through a lot of covers or like potential, probably 40 pictures from random places.
Yeah, it was all like Instagram photography.
Right. Philly related stuff from like Philly photographers. Some we knew, some we didn't. And then I forget how we ended up picking the one of my son, but once we gave it to our friend Justin Keller, shouts to Just, who did the artwork for the first two projects. Once he kind of slapped everything on it, I was like, okay, that's it. That's the one. Like putting our new logo, and I just loved it. So yeah, it's really cool. And it's cool to see like all the press and pictures and people sharing it and being like, hey, like that's my kid. Like every time people share, I'm like, hey, there he is. Look, he's climbing a fence. It's so funny to me. And I'll show it to him. I'm like, look at you. He's like, okay, thanks, Daddy. All right. He doesn't care.
No. And what about the other pictures on there also in Philly?
Yeah. So then there's one picture of him like cruising his little bike. I got him over the summer. That picture was taken like right before he fell and like cracked his face in his pants. Ooh. And then another photo is like this car parked right by ShopRite. It reminded me of like the Elucid album cover, Save Yourself. And so I thought that was just kind of funny. But it like that picture of the car, which is inside like the CD digipack, it's a picture of like a white busted up ass car in front of ShopRite. And that was directly behind me. There it is. That picture. Like if I turn my back, I take a picture of my son who's on the cover. I turn my back the other way, that car was right there. So it was like the same day, same everything. So that happened to fit the layout of what we wanted to do with the CD and stuff. So yeah, it's great to not have to pay for photographers in this situation and just trust the iPhone.
You have a good eye though.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
You actually are good at it because you've actually done two. You know, we haven't talked about this, but you did 2 album covers with your photography.
I
know what I
did.
mean?
Well,
that's not
I'm
something.
married.
Yeah, that's not something I don't think you've done before.
Right.
Elsewhere.
No.
Yeah.
No, I've never done it. No, I mean my wife was a photographer, so I just would like
shout out to Laura.
Yeah, shout out to Laura. So when she would do a lot of editing and stuff, I would just kind of like peep what she was doing, and I just stole her whole style.
Word. Real quick.
There you go. Get your shit took. It applies to your loved ones.
That's right.
Anybody could get it.
And speaking of cinematography, talk about Fantastic Planet.
Man, great movie. Very good to watch under the influence.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you've never seen it?
Really?
I'm quite familiar with it. I've just never seen it.
Yeah, somehow it's Madlib's fault, actually. I'm going to blame Madlib. It's very hip-hop at this point.
Yeah, now, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But with that being said, there's about maybe 10 to 20 vinyl versions of it, too.
Yeah. Actually, I should credit whoever did the beat for Big Pun Boomerang.
Oh, is that Young Lord?
I don't know, but I don't think it's somebody like
Showbiz. Who did that?
No,
I have that sample too.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Who produced that?
That's Chef Disco Vietnam. That's his favorite beat of all time.
Great beat.
Never made.
Great album of string beats.
Dan O's favorite album ever.
Yeah. Madlib, however, took, I want to say, like imagery from the movie as well as sampled the music. So that I think is how a lot of people like in my era kind of found out about that movie and the soundtrack. Because I think, a lot of times I hear soundtracks before I see the movie, so I don't have any context, but that was something when I heard the soundtrack, I was like, yo, this movie is probably, pretty nuts. So, went and checked it out, and that's one of my favorite movies, I would say, of all time. Just a good story, Yeah, Z, you gotta watch that though.
I gotta check it. Yeah, Boomerang's produced by Vic from Beat Nuts fame, VIC.
Really?
Shout out Storm Watkins checking in. He's a Baltimore producer. Very talented.
Shouts to Baltimore. I love that was like one of the last places I traveled before the Delta hit. I went down there for a day. Shouts to Baltimore.
I consider everybody in Baltimore to be my cousin. Somehow. So
we're gonna stick with the cinema because one of the reasons I actually found out about it is I like finding abstract, foreign animated type of films. and that was one of them that I caught at the first time, and I didn't know that there was a soundtrack to it until maybe a few years after I had seen it for the first time.
Nice.
You gotta put me on to some others then.
Definitely.
That's
Because
awesome.
yeah, I definitely don't know enough like animated foreign movies, especially if they're bugged out like that. Like, yeah, I need.
Yeah, there's a few out there.
That's awesome.
And it's funny, a lot of them that I do find are generally from Europe.
Oh, nice.
From the 70s.
Around that time, yeah.
That's awesome.
And they probably all have great soundtracks too.
Probably.
Like, it's a good bet. Those things go together.
You know, speaking about that, there was a French mix that I found on YouTube. I'll send it to you. They played a lot of older French music, and I'm definitely sure you can find some good music on there to sample.
I'm a big lover of like Italian records.
Yeah,
That's my go. Any Italian, that's
Definitely
for me. Love that. Love Italian records forever. Like Piero Umiliani, obviously Ennio Morricone. What was that one dude's name? I have a whole playlist of just Italian samples. I gotta find it. But yeah, I love all that stuff, man. I love it.
That's great. Now we spoke about Zilla's favorite actor. Let's talk about Sonny Chiba. Rest in peace.
Oh, word. Sonny Chiba, man. My dad is a white belt.
Damn.
Or a green belt. Yeah, he's up there. Like, I grew up in the house with there was nunchucks in my house growing up. And I was like, you can use, like, why do you have this? You know what I mean? And my pops used to be like, son, you know, I can't actually fight anybody because I'll get arrested after I beat them very easily because I'm really that good at karate. So, you know, that being said, I remember, you know, I forget what movie it was, but there was definitely like a Sonny Chiba like DVD or a tape. I want to say it was VHS tape. In my house growing up. So, you know, watched that, and my dad definitely, you know, that was his guy, you know. Definitely a favorite of mine as well.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
What was one of the a memorable moment that you remember growing up seeing him in? Like what scene?
Man, I haven't seen the one film that I'm talking about in so long. I'm drawing a blank. But I remember like when he passed, I went back and was watching like, you know, some of his earlier stuff, and I was like, wow, this is, you know, very familiar. So I'm sure at some point I went like through all of, you know, a couple of his movies like in the, you know, in the binge era. But the thing I liked about him was, you know, Bruce Lee as well, but you always got the sense that these guys were actually fighting. Like this was not like, you know, a act. Like dudes are actually dangerous with their hands. You know what I mean? But there's also like, you know, the level of like kind of silliness that he brought to his film, his roles too. That, you know, as a kid, you know, I was very into it.
Definitely. Yeah, actually, my screen name that you see across social media was one of the characters that he played in his early years in samurai films.
Oh, nice. Oh, snap. Look at you.
Didn't know that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yo.
Now we didn't talk about. Go ahead.
I was about to say I should actually think about who my favorite actor is. I don't know that I know the answer to that off the top of my head. In the way that Zilla has Benicio.
Yeah.
So,
all right, you got some homework tonight, dog. You got some homework.
I'll get back. I'll get back to you, fine gentlemen, about this.
Yeah, you got to show the work too. You got to break it down. Why?
True.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, Zilla, Vegas Vic. This was your second project on Charm Wizard Records.
Correct.
Tell us about this album.
Man, I just remember making it because I was just, everything was just this record was still in the process of being mixed, and then there was just I had a lull, and I was just like, man, I want to make some stuff, and so after I made it, Chong and I talked, and Midnight Suns did really well, and so off the success of that album, he was like, yo, do you got anything else? And I was like, yeah, I'm working on a solo album right now. And so that album went through a lot of different maturation processes too, with bringing Barry aboard Disco Vietnam to co-executive produce a record with me, and then we brought his brother on, Kenny Schwartz, who mixed and mastered it, and then they were doing that at the same time they were arranging and mixing and mastering the Peter Rosenberg album Real Late. So they were on double duty. So Barry and I are going over my songs, and he's like, oh, Ghostface just rapped on my beat. I'm like, what? Oh, Jim Jones is getting on my track. Oh, Rock Marcy and Flea Lord did a song to one of my beats. I'm like, hello. So that was all happening the same time. He was invested in my project and, shooting ideas with him and his brother. So it was great. It was my first solo record in a couple years because I've been doing all these collabo projects, which is really fun too. So the album, the vinyl took, again, very long, but the vinyl's here, and I think some of the test presses are gone. I think tapes might be sold out. CDs are on the verge of selling out, and I think vinyl's getting scarcely low now. Yes, you do. Look at you, man. And and what's it called? But if you live in the Berkeley area, they Amoeba Records is carrying it on all formats out there. Shouts to my man Evan at Amoeba Berkeley. This is a side note real quick. We did a show in San Francisco in 2013. It was me, Prem, Castro, Torrin, and it was the first night of our run. I think there was 4 or 5 people at that show. It was rough. And Evan from Amoeba was one of the people at that show. And since then, he's been able to stock the shelves with some of my records in Amoeba, which is really cool, and support. So shouts to Evan if he's listening to this. So the point of that story, kiddos, is you never know who's in the audience, and you never know what the hell's going to happen. So bust your ass at every show and be cool to everybody that comes out, whether it's 4 people or 500, because years later, who knows where they're going to
Very important.
Very important.
Definitely. It's funny that you mentioned that. Before the pandemic, a lot of shows that I went to in New York was right after work. So as you see me right now, I'm at the show like that.
Everyone was like, yo, this dude is trying to sell me insurance after the show, and I gotta get out of here. He got a press sweater vest on. He's tried to do some title, some mortgage pre-approval or something.
And what really throws them off is I have a backpack on at the same time.
They're like, yo, this. They're like, this.
I can't figure this one out.
Yeah, this guy's gonna do my taxes and then cop my merch. This is crazy. This is gonna be awesome. Nah, I'm messing with you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, but definitely big shout out to Disco Vietnam, because he's really been doing this thing.
He's amazing. He's incredible. Yeah, he's had an amazing year too. So shouts to Barry. Yeah, we've had some discussions about next steps and stuff like that, but he's in a world just making beats, man. That guy just makes beats. He makes beats to throw them away, which is insane to me, but he does it. I'll be like, what happened to that beat yesterday? Oh, I trashed it. Oh, okay, cool. It was hot. Yeah. Wow. I'll make something better. He's crazy.
Terrible.
He's crazy.
Vietnam, I hope you're listening to this. Terrible. Stop deleting beats.
Yeah, right.
Stop it expeditiously.
Yeah, I like that word.
Don't throw anything away.
I never do that. Yeah.
You never know. Next year you might revisit that joint and it, make a classic out of it. So.
Absolutely. And speaking of producers who I think not too many know about, that he actually has dope production, and correct me if I'm saying it wrong, it's PQ.
Oh, PQ is the man right there. Yeah, PQ is awesome.
I mean, his artwork right now is bringing him to so many heights right now. Shout out on him with the artwork. But I tell people all the time, every time I see his work being posted, I'm like, and don't sleep on his production.
Yeah, we did a project last year, 96 Ways I Made Out, where he remixed a couple of my songs, and then I put like Small Pros remix of Spy vs. Spy with me and Vic Spencer on there. Yeah, man. The first time Shade 45 ever played me, it was a PQ remix that we put out. So all the zillions of records I've done with big names, small names, no names, they played that one on Lord Sears' show. So shouts to Lord Sears and Shade 45. It was that PQ remix that slipped through.
Dope. Now, Small Pro, I have to ask, because I'm sure people have asked you this before. Large Professor, Large Pro. Influence?
I'm unfamiliar. Is that guy famous? I'm unfamiliar with that. I'm unfamiliar with that name.
Drawing a blank.
I think that guy's biting you, bro. Whoever that is, he's biting you. I don't trust it.
So I want to say that I came up with that name just to troll people years ago and just didn't know it at the time. It's actually very entertaining to have that name. And also, the guy is a legend. Just amazing, amazing producer. Actually, triple threat. He does beats. He can do the beats. He can rhyme on a beat, and then he can DJ for himself.
Hell yeah.
So, I like to think of myself as someone that, like I rapped when I first started making music, but I knew almost immediately that it was not my ministry. So I leave the rapping to my very talented friends.
Correct.
But originally I had a nickname that was like I think Millie Smalls. My first name is Jamil. So Millie Smalls was my Yahoo internet name or whatever. So
Did you spell with a Z? Was it Z like Smalls?
No, bro. No Z's.
Okay, good.
Yeah, man, I don't do that. But I think probably 2005, I was like, I need a name. Small Professor sounds, again, just a play on words. Had no idea that, people don't have a problem with it anymore. I used to get angry. Angry comments.
Oh,
yeah. People don't do that anymore. Like they've definitely chilled out on that, Z.
There's a lot of angst. A lot of angst early on.
Yeah, are y'all related? And then they'll tag us together.
Oh my god.
No. It was a Beats and Rhymes. You remember that show, Z?
Yeah.
Used to do those in Philly.
Oh yeah.
All right, I forget who the host was, but I was on stage, and he was introducing everybody. He was like, "Here goes, Small Professor. Damn, he even kind of looks like Large Professor." And I kind of looked at him like, I mean,
you do not look like Large Professor.
I don't. I had glasses on at the time. I don't right now, but I had a hat on. I think I had glasses on. I'm like, okay. But at the end of the day, I am Smalls.
Mhm.
He's large.
Correct.
Very different individuals. But I feel again to get into my Star Wars fandom, because I know Zilla loves when I talk Star Wars. But
Yeah, let's keep talking about that. It's the coolest.
yeah, it's just yeah, he loves it. So it's
Really
like a
cool.
title. Professor is like a title.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a medium professor too. I don't know
Is
if y'all
there?
knew that.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to fight him.
Medium percent.
Yeah, he's
No.
gonna get lumped up.
I actually have beef with his name is Professor Small.
Oh,
I
I
think
got beef with him too. Your beef is
yeah,
mine.
I don't like that guy.
I don't care for him.
Medium Professor is cool.
Professor.
Professor Small though, like when I type my name in, like his music pops up. I'm like, bro,
no good.
nah,
We got
man.
problems.
There's a soul professor too. His beats are dope though.
Yeah,
Shout out to
I know
him.
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to him.
Nice.
No, not there's Mad Professors who I was thinking of, not
yeah,
Medium.
Mad Professor. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Mad
Yeah.
Professor. Well, it's as time goes by, an eye for an eye. Fill in the rest. Your beef is mine with this person.
Professor Small, man.
That's more offensive
Not
to me.
feeling it. Yeah, not feeling it, bro.
You got 24 hours to change that name. Okay.
Yeah.
Cease and desist.
You got 24 hours to live. Just think.
Now you have a video out for SP bumper cars. Is it you planning on releasing another video?
Yeah, we got some discussions going with actually shooting some, in person with each other again. We did a gang of videos for the first album and then the remix record. So it's just a matter of, holidays and traveling and shooting outside in the freezing cold ass weather. Which Castro and I did with Griff Company for 2x4. It was the most, like, we were in so much physical pain shooting outside in North Philly in the middle of February at like 9:00 at night, where I was like, we were about to fist fight each other. We were just so angry because it was just so cold. Like, we didn't even do anything. We were just gonna throw down, just like to warm our bodies up. So there's that consideration at the time of the year, as I've learned over the years doing videos. So yeah, we'll probably have a couple, filmed together in the near future.
Yeah, I think this is not this is just starting as far as the Never at Peace promotion run goes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we'll be pushing this into next year. So
yes,
there will be everything that came with the first record. We're gonna try to do some new things. But I love doing videos. I didn't know that. I like that, but it's just fun being on camera with your friends, though. I think that's my main thing. Like, I don't get out much, so when I do go out, like, it's gotta be worth leaving my cozy room and my bed,
right,
and doing a video shoot for a song I produced with my buddy.
Mm-hmm.
That's worth it. So
I agree.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to fist fight Easy.
Don't do that. You're gonna get slumped up. Yo, man, you think your
I
dad
don't
was
know.
nice with nunchucks? I was getting busy as well, bro.
I don't know about all that.
7th and Oregon Shin Karate. I keep the nunchucks in the closet. They're within reaching distance in my house. So watch. Well, I'm going to beat up whatever his name is. Small doctor professor.
Small. Yeah. I'm about to stick the crew on this man.
I'm gonna take it out on that man. He's gonna get smacked with some wooden nunchucks from '93. I keep them.
I'm gonna just tell my dad to get him.
Sick your dad on this man. Pop him. That's awesome.
Now we got to talk about one of your features. It was one of my favorite coming out of Ohio, out of the group Soul Position. You had Blueprint.
Hell yeah.
Tell us about having him on the album.
Ooh, yo, he's the big brother. I was just texting with him earlier. He's the big bro, man. He's seriously like just an inspiration and just an amazing guy. He's such a rare person. You know, like same thing. I was working at the record store putting the Soul Position album on the shelf when it came out in 1988 and all that. Like being blown away hearing him on Daylight EP with Aesop. You know what I mean? Like running it back and you know, just being a fan of this guy. And I met him first at a Atmosphere and B Dolan show, probably like 2010, 11, something like that. Or no, like 11 or 12. And then he had already done the Smalls record for Gigantic, I think, with Castro. So then they all got, I think Castro and him got to meet after doing that song together. What's it called? I messed it up on our show. Find a Way. Is that what that one's called? Smalls?
You had to look it up for us the other day, and I forgot.
Whatever. Yeah, it's Castro, Smalls, and Blueprint. It's one of my favorite songs of all time off Gigantic Zero. And then we got to work with Print on
one.
What's it called?
It was on Volume 1.
Volume 1, sorry.
All right, I didn't mean to interrupt you again.
It's quite okay. And then we got to work with Print again on Castro's album, Fidel, on a song called Now They Call Me Castro. And I remember like me and Castro sitting there going through the Blueprint beat tape, like which one is a good pick. And we got that beat. Yes, the Blueprint beat tape. And that was the last beat. The last beat on the whole beat tape became Now They Call Me Castro, which we used to perform all the time. So meeting him and, you know, working with him in some capacity, and then his podcast and books, and like his work inspired Wu Pope. I mean, he was doing Blueprint versus Radiohead, Blueprint versus Funkadelic. Like Castro used to open up his set rapping over Blueprint Who. Like this is real shit. So for us to become homies with him, and we opened for him in Philly like 2019, me and Smalls. It's amazing. Like it's like weird. I have to remind myself like texting him and being friends with him is like something unfathomable to me in like 2004. You know what I mean? Where like I kind of like that doesn't even occur to me how weird that is.
Nope.
So, you know, he's the illest. And then like even a Logic like posting today like his Spotify numbers, like we were like his second most played podcast of the year after Open Mike Eagle and LP. So like hearing these dudes that you worship and studied, you know, and the Castro's worked with Logic a lot too, and did videos with Blueprint. It's just really dope. So to have him on the record, he was like, I was like, he has to be on this album, like there's without a question. So he was like the only quote unquote big name that I really wanted to lean on, because I felt like all of us have got to work with big name guests, you know, in different ways. And I felt like between Vegas Vic and this album, I was like really confident being like, we're the big names. You know what I mean? Like Shrapnel's a big name. You know, like I don't need to pad out a record just for marketing purposes or to appeal to new fans. I feel like if you're with us, you're gonna like the record regardless. If I got, you know, Tragedy Gaddafi on it or Vinny Paz or something, or I didn't. So Print was that dude. He was like the only like real, for me, like a bucket list guy that I hadn't worked with personally. So and then get him on the song Dame Dash Taught Me. Like he and I would always just text about Dame Dash. And we love him. So he did a Dame Dash episode that like Dame Dash retweeted and posted, and you know, it was crazy. So it was like everything was like in line with that. Like I felt like that beat was him, like him with that slow flow and that voice, you know, but like really conceptual, but in a cool way. So yeah, man, it's wild. Like to like look at Blueprint's name like on the features, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. Shout out to Blueprint, definitely.
Shout out to Printmatic.
And there was
I concur.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just one of the nicest dudes I think I've ever met that I, you know, listened to. I was a, you know, big fan. I think I met him when 1988 came out.
Sure.
You know, and actually, you know, dapped him up after the show or whatever. I don't think I was like, you know, I wasn't Smalls yet. But also not afraid to kick it and give advice out.
Definitely.
To up and coming, young producer that, I got a lot of my style from him though. 2003 era, I would say, between the Greenhouse Effect album.
Oh God.
And yeah, also the Weight Room compilation directly influenced Gigantic Volume 1.
Wow, never knew that.
Yeah, that shoot. What was the song with him, Vast Air, and the other guy? Oh man, the piano.
What's the name of that song?
I forget the name. But
that joint's fire.
And I think he did Soul Position that year too. Yeah.
8 Million Stories, man. Wow.
He did 8 Million Stories, a group album. Well, put out a group album. He did a compilation album, and all in the same year. So obviously, those were all, in works before that. But to drop those all in the same year,
wow.
Nobody did it back then, and I don't know too many people that could do that now. So not only are you, you're good enough at making beats that you can produce for other people. You're good enough as a rapper where, you can just rock with one producer for a whole album. So
for real,
like, they don't really make them like that anymore. You know what I mean? But shout out to Print.
Definitely.
It's my guy.
It's my man.
Now, we spoke about the success of this album as well as other Wrecking Crew projects that have come out this year. Now, with that being said, you on Call Out Culture, I'm not sure if it was the last episode, but one of the recent episodes, you spoke about Saigon and that whole fiasco with his album. That took forever to come out, and all the hype that was around him at the time, that he could have been so much better at the time. And when we were speaking about that, I thought about that. I'm like, that's never ever gonna happen.
That's a good point. Why do you say that?
Because the way music is right now, look at the success you have without a label behind you.
100%.
Look at all the other artists right now with their own websites, selling their own merch directly through their sites, or even Bandcamp. And major labels right now are really scrambling to find ways to continue to have the artists with them.
Right. And that's I was kind of saying that before, man. I was just like, that the way things have evolved, it just keeps getting more and more artist friendly. And like we talk about the Saigon thing, like all the money they spent to not drop that album is really ridiculous if you think about it. And so now, like, you're right, it's like he would just come out within 2-3 months immediately. Like there wouldn't be this hubbub of like how to drop. I mean, he had the Pain in My Life video that was out. That was cool. I love that song. Then they had the Come On Baby joint, and like things were in the mix. You had them on Entourage, and you're right. Like they would just be like, they would time it to be like when Entourage drops, the album drops, even if it's just on Tidal only or on Sound or something. And so I think like all of us, like I know this is definitely the case when Smalls and I and everybody started linking up. Like we were used to spending so much time working on stuff. You know what I mean? Like now for me and Small Pro to take this long for a record, it's like alien to think about. You know what I mean? Versus like doing a record in 2 months, 3 months, and then the rollout comes later. Versus like, oh yeah, like it should take me 4 to 7 years to make an album. Like that was like the thinking. And Saigon and them definitely were in that because that's all we ever knew. And so you're right. I think like the only thing is slowing everything down is vinyl now. Like that's the only thing you have to wait for. And Cash and I actually had a discussion this morning about that, about future releases, where it's like we would love to put everything we make on vinyl. Like, really, it would be an honor to do that as a fan and as a creator. But like that can't be the thing that slows me down or anybody. Like, it's wild to compete, you know, with
true.
Adele at the pressing plant. You know what I mean? And no shot to her. It's just what it is. So I think that's the only thing slowing people down now is that. You know what I mean? Because she's put in an order for 500,000. If I put in an order for 100, guess who gets pushed to the front of the list? Adele. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
for 500,000 pieces. So, yeah, you're right. Like that if it does happen again, then it's like literal malpractice. You know what I mean? But everything's so fast and money moves so quick, and eyeballs and streams and plays and TikTok loops and songs and video games. Like you're right. It's just that doesn't even add up anymore to think like that would be the case. But that was definitely the case in 2000, whatever, 7 or 8, whatever the hell year it was. Yeah.
Yep.
It was 7.
Dude, I used to rap on Come On Baby, and I used to rap on, what was that song he did over the Just Blaze beat where it was like it was like a letter song he would do.
Oh, I remember that. Yes.
Yo, that beat, that's one of the hardest beats in Just Blaze's life. And it was called like it was like a letter joint. It was like all like alliteration or something.
Yeah, I remember that. He was on his papoose.
Yes, he was doing that style. So he had like, I used to rap on that at shows. I used to open with that beat. I used to rap on Come On Baby. Like, he had it. You know what I mean? It doesn't even make sense. At the very minimum, he would be on like fat beats, pumping that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like Duck Down.
Mellow.
You know what I mean? Like cranking out those Apollo records and the Joella
Brown,
joints.
Saigon.
Yo,
Yeah,
sheesh.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is money in the bank.
Yeah, I think
It's
that's
easy.
like with letter P.
Letter P, that's what it was called. Yes. The Letter P. That song, that beat is unbelievable, man. That beat is so slept on. Oh my God.
We have 3 Career Crooks projects. What do you want the listeners and fans to take from Never at Peace?
We'll take that first, Smalls.
You know, I would like for our fans to, you know, just hear our evolution as people, as artists, and you know, it's just a journey. It's still continuing, but you know, we're who we are, and we're getting better, and you know, we're a group that you can hear our friendship, I think, on the album.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it just all goes together. So that's my part.
Yeah, man. I couldn't even think about, you know, how to sell this record to people in terms of like the marketing behind her, like the one-liners. I just felt like what we do is, again, like I said at the beginning, like it's very organic and it's pretty easy. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, it's not. We butt heads about the things we butt heads about is like quality. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about money. It's not about who gets more clout and shine or any of that stuff. It's more like quality control. Like that's really the only time where there's like, you know, 2 rams bucking their horns against each other. But having said all that, it's like I think this record is, you know, some of his best beats ever. I think it's like some of my favorite storytelling and rhyming on this joint. And it was easy to write most of it, and it was easy for him to make me beats that want to do it. And I think it's like really collaborative. And I think like it's important for people to know that the bulk of this record was made with like me being in the room with him, picking out the beats, us doing shows, like feeling that out to say like, okay, we're going to be a duo. We've seen what works. Now let's apply that to the next record. And so, you know, things have changed in our lives a lot, but I feel like this album is just banging East Coast rap. I mean, I think that's what our bread and butter is right now. But we also have joints like Sleeping Heads with I Alive, aka Donovan Days, where we're willing to take it different places here and there. You know what I mean? Like even the song Never at Peace and stuff like that. So we're never afraid to push each other, which is dope. You know what I mean? Like he'll never be like, you went too far, you know, or I'll never say to him like, that's weird. Don't do that. Don't send me that. That's weird stuff. So I think again, he's
Not
and
yet.
not yet, and he's the best drum making producer right now. Like he's got the best drums. And I'm gonna keep saying that. It's more about him with the drums than anything else. Like that's the takeaway. You want to hear insane drums? This is the guy for you.
The guy right here.
Straight up and down.
That's great.
I appreciate that very much. I'm a sometimes humble. But when you give a producer props on his drums, that's like it's like one of the best compliments you can give somebody that does hip hop production. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So shout out to my teachers on that front. My actual drummer brother, first of all.
Shouts to Anwar.
You know, shout out to Anwar, man.
Small's his brother. Like there's a cat I know that when I told him who Small Pro was, he's like, "Oh, you mean Anwar Marshall's brother?" Like that's how ill of a drummer his brother is.
I'm not even the most famous musician, like of my parents' DNA.
DNA.
My guy is out here.
That's crazy.
So yeah, when he says like I did well, like oh, I like what you did on your drums on that joint, I'm like right here, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's great. Career Crooks, Zilla Rocca,
Bang.
Small Professor.
We out here.
Appreciate y'all.
Oh, thanks.
Appreciate you.
Bro.
Appreciate Wrecking Crew.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Shout out to everyone out there.
Shouts to everybody and everybody who's
everybody listening.
Who's ever listening, who's ever watching, who's ever supported us and supporting the new album. Yeah, man, get involved, stream us. I'm gonna do a promo. I haven't told anybody, but this is not a joke. This is real. I'm gonna do a video where I'm gonna give people. I will PayPal or Venmo people $1 for every Wrecking Crew person you add or favorite on Spotify. So rather than me spending money on ads to get you to check me on Spotify or any of these things, I will give you $1. So if it's just me, you get $1. If it's me and Career Crooks, $2. If it's me, Small Pro, Career Crooks, $3, and so on and so forth. Because I'd rather give the money to people than give it to Facebook and Instagram for ads. So there you go. So screen grab it, send it to me. I will give you $1. How you like that?
And that dollar pays more than what Spotify pays.
Yeah, there it is. So I'd rather give it to people than pay to get someone to like my song on whatever platform. I don't even care, but there it is. So I'm gonna do a video soon, and that's real. I will be giving out money. Not a lot of money, like maybe like $40 worth total in increments, but nonetheless. So I'd rather just give it to people than run ads and spend my money that way.
Insubordinate Records said, "Is that a retroactive offer?"
No, sorry. You can't unfollow and follow me back because I'll see the analytics.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna report
this
you.
Guy.
You'll be reported.
Jason. Griff.
What's up, Griff?
What's up, Griff?
Oh man.
Dope, man. Now I'm gonna let y'all give your shout outs and where everyone can support Career Crooks and the Wrecking Crew.
Wow. Go ahead, Smalls.
Table's yours.
Yeah, so first I'd like to shout out, my Career Crook co-star. Did his thing on the album. One of my favorite rappers ever. Shout out, Castro, Prem, Alaska. everybody that has supported us up to this point, new fans. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bang. I agree with everything just said. I think Small Pro I think he's the best producer in Philly, period. I think he's the best drum person, period. I think he's the best person to base his name off Large Professor, period. And then I think for
True.
anybody who wants to rock with us, again, you could hear Call Out Culture. We just did a live from the Liner Notes all about the making the record. So that's out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Call Out Culture Pod. And you could check out the album anywhere you want to get music. Totally fine. Don't care. Enjoy it how you want to enjoy it. If you want to get the CDs, tapes are sold out, but I'm going to bring a couple back out maybe Friday. I found a couple more. Mini discs.
Sold out, huh?
Tapes are gone, but we have like an extra stash. So you can support us directly at wreckingcrew.bandcamp.com if that's your bag. And then Bandcamp Friday's coming up this 2 days. So if you choose to buy the record, then we get all the cash, which is wonderful because Bandcamp is, Bandcamp is not like some friggin' way station for angels, bro. They take their cuts just like the rest of these sites. Don't act like Spotify is doing, whatever. I'm just messing around, man. Spotify is like, here's a fraction of a penny all the time. Whereas Bandcamp's like, that's cool. You made $20. We're going to give you $2 out of that $20. There you go. So it's the same shit. It's all the same. The only way to support me directly is, get the physical live at the show, but who knows what the hell that's going to happen. So I'm just joking around. So thank you for everybody who said kind words and shares pictures. Look at this guy. He's got the whole package. He's got all that.
Stunning on him.
Stunting hard. So you too can live that dream of the entire package of physicals. And we got some beanies, we got some hoodies, corduroy hats. That's all on the website too. So yeah, if you have impeccable taste in East Coast rap, spend your time and money with us. What are you, crazy? Do it.
There you go. Once again, thank you all again for taking the time out.
Anytime.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And on behalf of our HH, what's that?
So I gotta get with you after this show, man.
Oh, yeah, definitely. On behalf of our HHDG media crew, we're going to say peace.
Peace.